Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and here we are with the new Lenovo Yoga Tablet 10, which has only just been released. It is their latest Android tablet, so they do have other tablets in their range, but the Yoga tablets, there's an 8-inch and a 10-inch. We're obviously looking at the 10-inch here. Were released just recently, so we're going to just do a quick unboxing, a little bit of a first impressions video for you. And let's open up. So the one I have here is the Wi-Fi only version. There is a Wi-Fi and a 3G version available, so this is just the Wi-Fi. So we have the tablet inside, and I'm going to tease you for a moment longer, and we'll just put that to one side so we can look at what else is in the box. So underneath we have a little compartment, neatly arranged. So we have the getting started guide there basically, and a warranty card and some bits and pieces. We have a USB to micro USB sync charge cable. There are a couple of little little rubber feet. 100% sure what they are for. And then have the charger, so standard UK 3 pin with a USB socket on the other end. And in terms of supply, it's a 2 amp charger, an empty little bag, and that's it basically. Nothing else underneath, so that's all we get in the box, so fairly straightforward. So to the tablet itself, we are going to just take off the plastic. And obviously Lenovo have done something a bit different with their design. They've gone to a completely different and been able to make it really slim for the most part. The battery compartment or battery area at the back has been put on this bubble, if you like, which means that it's nice to hold one hand. Obviously if you want to use it with one hand like so, it's a nice holding area, but also it means that the design is different, not following to the convention of all the other tablets that are out on the market basically. Design wise, you might think it's a little bit like the wireless keyboard that you get with Apple computers, because that has that bubble there at the back. So looking around, we'll start at the front. So we have a 10.1 inch display. It is an IPS display, so it's 1280 by 800 pixels. So not the highest of resolution, but still fairly reasonable, slightly above the sort of 720p HD resolution. So 1280 by 800, full capacitive touchscreen, supporting multi-touch, and will actually detect all 10 fingers if you want to use it for touch typing and stuff like that. I have a forward-facing camera just to the side there, which is a 1.6 megapixel forward facer. Below we have 2 speakers, so we actually have the speakers on either side. To this side we have the power button and a micro USB sync charge connector. Nothing really to see on the bottom, but we'll come back to that in a moment. On this side we have the headphone socket. So looking inside, it looks like it supports 4-pole, 3.5mm, so you can use a wired headset. There's a button on this side which looks like possibly an up and down volume control or something like that, but exact function we'll find out in a moment. And the little hole there is one of the microphones. Really nothing to see on the bottom, or top I guess, depending upon your orientation, top edge I guess you'd say. Nothing there, but you can see how slim it is at the slimmest point, because obviously it's of that wedge shape. On the back we have a 5 megapixel autofocus camera. There's no flash, but there is a 5 megapixel camera, and then we do have this kickstand. So this compartment, this sort of battery compartment if you like, that swings open and closed, means that we can actually stand the tablet up, which I think is actually a really great idea. I like being able to use it in that orientation, particularly if you're watching movies, web browsing on a table, using it that way. Obviously you can put the kickstand up or put the kickstand down. You can use it flat like this. Obviously you can use it for touch typing, which is sort of slightly sort of keyboard angled, or you can kick the stand up a little bit more and give you a bit more of an angle to it. And also, as you can see there, the extremely reflective display, completely glossy. So also underneath here, we've got a slot here for the micro SD memory card. There's a little blanking plate in there at the moment, but that supports up to 64 gig of micro SDHC memory. The other side, because this is the Wi-Fi only version, there isn't actually a hole, but that's where we would, if this was the 3G version, that's where we would put our SIM card. You can see on the back obviously the Dolby logo and the Lenovo logo there as well. Let me just pop that shut, and we're going to basically be using it this way around. So let's certainly attempt to power up. And there's a little vibrate from inside, so I actually quite like the fact that it's a tablet with built-in, there we go, haptic feedback with an internal vibrate. That's pretty useful. Let me run down the specification. So in terms of size, we are 261 millimeters wide at the widest point, 180 millimeters top to bottom. Thinnest point, it's 8.1 millimeters thinnest, and that's sort of a kind of stated average. Across that thickest point, well, that's not in their specification document here, just telling us what it is across there. But that's, I would say it's probably in the region of about 20 or so millimeters on that widest point. In terms of weight, 605 grams, so not the lightest of tablets, but we do have a large battery in the bottom section here, and deliberately so, because Lenovo say that this is good for, I think it's around, they're quoting something like 18 hours of web usage and web browsing with this tablet, and I think it's around 10 hours of video playback. So if that's accurate, then that's certainly very good. So large capacity battery in there, 9,000 milliamp hour battery, so 9 amp hours basically. In terms of what else we have in here, I'm not sure which version this is, so let's just check on the box. This is the 16 gigabyte model. There is a 32 gigabyte model available as well. So this is the 16, 1 gig of internal RAM, and in terms of the processor, we've got a quad-core 1.2 Cortex A7 CPU. So we'll run a little benchmark on that in a moment and see what that's like. We also have built-in Wi-Fi, 802.11b, and N standards. USB on the go as well as supported, and Wi-Fi 4.0. And finally, the OS. We are currently shipping with 4.2, but we'll just check that in the configuration in a moment as well. Right, so with that out of the way, let's take a look. So we'll go through the setup. Stick with the standard time zones, set the time agreement. We're going to scan for setting up a Wi-Fi, and go ahead and connect to our Wi-Fi connection there. You can see a nice large keyboard, obviously being the 10.1 inch display, gives us the ability to really easily touch type, and it is a 16:9 aspect ratio. Go quite close to the edge at the top there, if you can make it out, quite close to the top there with the bezel, and obviously there's a fairly large area around the bottom, and obviously on this side, and there with the camera, but the sides is quite slim. So anyway, let's go and sign in. So out of the box, we don't have any haptic feedback on the keyboard, so we'll have a look, see if we can configure that. We'll just wait for that to go ahead and sign in. We are connected. So next, we're not going to do that just for the moment. I want to get through the setup as quickly as possible. There we go. So we have loaded into the, what they call it, the desktop. So we've got a couple of widgets there at the moment. The time and weather by AccuWeather there. The Google search with voice search. Browser, email, gallery, play music, video, play store. Swiping across, we've got quite a few items there. Obviously, we're going to be looking in the settings menu shortly, but there's quite a few things that are already pre-installed. So we've got a file browser and power manager, Yoga Tablet icon there as well, and then Kingsoft, which is Office, so Word, PowerPoint, and so on, spreadsheet that we can actually open and use. Google navigation, playbooks and all that kind of stuff. So pretty straightforward, standard stuff there. Pulling down the notification area on one side, I've got the battery and settings menu, wireless LAN obviously being on. Bluetooth and GPS can be turned on and off here as well. Brightness we will turn up to maximum just for the benefit of doing the video. Actually that is pretty bright. I don't know how well that comes across in the video, but that is actually quite a bright display. I think that would be reasonably okay for sort of being outdoors and in daylight, as long as you keep the direct sunlight off the actual reflective display. Pulling down at the other side, we've got the Norton product launcher and the notification area. It tells me that I'm connected to, tells me what wireless network I'm connected to as well, which is kind of cool. There is the soft buttons at the bottom, go back, home and menu. So we've got the running applications, list of recent applications there, so we can close things off like so. And in this corner you've got another menu, so we can add stuff to the home screen, look at the themes, wallpapers, previews, preferences and settings. It's another way of getting into settings, and obviously pressing the home button in the middle takes us back there as well. So we will go and take a quick trip into the settings menu, and we are going to look for, there we go, about tablet, and we got, there we go, Android version 4.2.2. So that's not too bad. Hopefully there will be an update to 4.3 and maybe eventually 4.4 KitKat, but obviously that's what we're on just at the moment. And we'll come back out of there. Actually didn't want to come all the way back out. Back into settings. What else we've got? We've got a storage menu, as we can see here. It tells us that our available space straight out of the box for user storage is 12.87. So that's what's available to us straight out of the box, with all the sort of other stuff that's pre-installed and everything else that's on there. So let's go and first of all take a look at the web browser. So we're not going to Lenovo's website. We're going to go to ours. So there's a little tick from the keys, but it's not haptic. So we've got plenty of screen real estate there to work with. 1280 wide, 800 tall. Not the highest of pixel density, so we're 149 ppi, so not the highest densities, but I mean I'm standing, my head's probably about 18 inches or so away from the screen, and even the smallest text is no problem to read. It's nice and clear, really easy to go through, and yeah, quite a nice display. So we can turn it round that way as well, and indeed all the way around that way as well. I mean that's going to be certainly, I think, preference for many was probably going to be something like that, so we can angle it towards ourselves while we're sitting at a desk, so it works well that way around as well. And useful really to know from the point of view of the left and right-handed users. As a left-handed user you can grasp it with your right and touch the screen with your left, and obviously vice versa. You do it all the way around. Buttons on the side, yeah, absolutely as we thought. They are the up and down volume control. Notice how small it is, so you're going to have to be fairly deliberate in pressing the appropriate ends of that screen. I'm going to just stand it this way around for ease, so I don't have to keep holding it. So yeah, the display works quite well. As I say, not the highest of resolutions. There are obviously much higher resolution tablets out there on the market. But nevertheless it's not too shabby at all. We'll pop into the Play Store and we'll sign into an existing Google account. Okay, so we'll just sign in. And I will turn off. Already it's starting to notify me about my Hangouts. And it's gonna start telling me about updates. Hangouts are already there, we'll get rid of that. Let's go back to the Play Store. So we're going to do a quick search for, okay, that's good, for quadrant. Let's try that again. Okay, a bit of a lag there. I'm going to just do a quick full benchmark with quadrant standard, just to give us a little bit of an indication as to how well the processor, which say is a quad core 1.2. So that's installed, so let's go ahead and run that. And then we'll want to run that way round. So just stand her up. We'll run that through. Getting 61 frames a second there, not too bad. And good 60 frames a second there as well. And the final test, 50 odd frames a second as well. Okay, so let's go get our results. Not too bad. Our device there, just under the HTC One X. CPU performance is a little bit above the HTC One X, so not too terrible a performance at all. But again, just it is only a benchmark, and real world experiences can vary. One thing I do want to quickly take a look at is across YouTube, more from the point of view of being able to tell you what the audio is like. So let's go and do a search for my YouTube channel. And let's just pick anything. Let's pick that one up there. Taking a little while to buffer, but I think that's more of a...
Life is about making decisions.
I know this is an advert, but that's the volume control.
It was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for true.
It's pretty loud actually. That's playing back. Obviously the speaker's just there at the top, but it's quite... It's not going to be very easy for you to. It's not going to be very easy for you to appreciate the volume of that through obviously the camcorder and the video, but it's actually quite a loud playback and fairly clear. I mean, we're talking about fairly tiny speakers there, quite honestly, but the playback's is quite loud. So it's obviously a little not quite tinny, but obviously it's much more high end than the middle and bass, but it's a function of how small the speakers are, quite honestly. In terms of the other stuff, I think that's pretty much it. I think we've covered all the basics of this tablet without breaking it on the table. In terms of other stuff installed, I think it's pretty straightforward. So we can install plenty of other applications, navigate there as well. So I think that pretty much covers the basics of the new Lenovo Yoga 10 tablet, Lenovo's latest 10.1 inch Android tablet. If you want to ask us any questions about this, please follow us on Twitter. At TracyandMatt, TracyandMatt, or on Facebook. We're on facebook.com/TracyandMatt.co.uk, and on Google Plus you can find me plus Matt Davis 1. That's MATTDAVIS 1, or you can check out our sort of main channel with all of our YouTube videos and the rest of the team at plus LeoD, plus LEODEE on Google Plus as well. And I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on TracyandMatt.co.uk, but for now, thanks for watching.